This is Calvary Chapel's Junior High Youth Group.
Almost done here. Verse 8. We know that the law is good when used correctly. The law, what's he speaking of? He's talking about the Old Testament law. Now, there's a lot of things in the Old Testament law that we don't use today. Did you know that? There was parts in the Old Testament law that talked about what to sacrifice for what. Okay, so you have to sacrifice a lamb for a certain sin. But if you didn't have a lamb, then you'd have to sacrifice a lesser animal. If you didn't have enough for that lesser animal, you get all the way down to like a pigeon. And they're like, I'm poor. Here's my pigeon. And you're like, all right, well, that will cover your sins. And another rich guy comes, here's my lamb. You're like, ooh, that will cover your sins as well, sir. Okay? And you're like, I've never made a sacrifice before, like a literal animal sacrifice. Because we don't have to anymore. There's a lot of things in the law that don't apply to us anymore because, actually, we'll find out in a second, all the things in the law don't apply to those of us who are Christians. We'll talk about that in a second. Okay? But what the law was for those people, it was a mirror. And you guys go, a mirror? I go, yes, a mirror. The law was a mirror. When you look in the mirror in the morning, how many of you guys wake up and go like this? All right, it's good. No, that doesn't happen. You wake up in the morning, you're like, at first you're like blurry vision, so you're like, oh, okay, that looks pretty good. And then you're like eyes clear, like, oh. Oh, right? And so, you're like, a little way, okay. Doing your makeup, and the girls are like, no, I'm just kidding. Guys are like, all right, doing my hair, looking good, walk away. Wait. The mirror is to show you your imperfections, right? That's why we have mirrors, okay? If you've got, a big old zit or a booger hanging out, you look in the mirror and you go, oh, that's gross, right? Most of you are hopefully then you're washing your hands out of that, okay? Right? You look and you fix things up because the mirror shows you your imperfections. The law showed you your imperfections. Think about it. The Ten Commandments. How many of you guys have ever stolen something? Okay, keep your hands up. How many of you guys have ever lied? Okay, is there anyone whose hand is not up? Good. Okay, so there are two of them. Okay, put them down. Two of them, and everyone's hands up. Okay? That's just two of the Ten Commandments. Okay? So the law says, look you look gross. Like the mirror tells you in the morning, you look nasty. Some of you, it tells you later on in the day, too. Hey, that's how it is. That's how it is with me. And you're looking at it and you're like, but you don't look in the mirror and go, man, why are you telling me I look gross? No, you go, oh, let me fix that. That's what the mirror's for. That's what the law is for. So you can fix the things that are wrong with you. But we find out later when Jesus comes, he says, if you have looked at a woman with lust in your heart, you have committed adultery. If you have looked at your brother with hatred in your heart, you have murdered him. Guys, we can't keep the law no matter how hard we try. So Jesus came, and Jesus, guys, listen up. Jesus is the fulfillment of the law. Okay, so, Alyssa, any questions about it? No. Jesus is the fulfillment of the law. If you say, Jesus, forgive me my sins, he says, okay, you are now no longer under the law. You're under my new law. We'll talk about that in a second. Okay, we're almost done, so stick with me. Verse 9. For the law was not intended for people who do what is right. For, another version says, for the righteous. Who's the righteous?
God.
Say it again. You're right. God is. But here on this earth, Christians. Christians are the righteous. You go, I'm not righteous. And I go, righteous. Okay? We're the righteous because Jesus has cleansed us. Remember, we give him that filthy rag. We're like, there you go. And he's like, thanks. And he cleans it off. This is cleaning it off. In case you guys are wondering what I'm doing right here. This is cleaning it off, and then he gives it back to us completely clean. That's how we're righteous. Not by us, but by him. So, he's saying the law is not for you who are righteous. It is for the people who are lawless and rebellious, who are ungodly and sinful, who consider nothing sacred and defile what is holy, who kill their father or mother. And you guys go, good, that's not me. Have you guys ever hated your father or mother in your heart? And you go, never. How about when you're in the middle of that game and they said, go clean your room? You go, it is clean! Okay? It was just in your heart, though, so that's good. Okay, we continue. Where are we at? Okay, it is for people who are lawless and rebellious, who are ungodly and sinful, who consider nothing sacred and defile what is holy, who kill their father or mother or commit other murders. Excuse me. I'll get over this cough eventually, I promise. Verse 10. The law is for people who are sexually immoral, or who practice homosexuality, or are slave traders, liars, promise breakers, or who do anything else that contradicts the wholesome teachings that come from the glorious good news entrusted to me by our blessed God. So, he says this is who the law is for. Guys, we would all fit under that in one way or another if we were not Christians. If Jesus did not completely wash us of our sin. Remember, it's not by us, it's by Him. So, my question for you, and we'll be done with this, my question for you is, which law are you under? Are you under the old law, where you have to fulfill each and everything to get to God? Or are you under the new law, which is under Jesus Christ, and what you have to do is you have to love those that are around you? Somebody asked Jesus, they said to Him, what is the greatest of the laws? And He said, the greatest of the laws is to love your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And the second is like it, to love your neighbors as yourself. If you love God and you love your neighbors, then you are completely fulfilling the entire law. So which law are you guys under? It's your choice. That's a great thing about God. You can choose. Everyone in this world is under one of them. Which one? I, personally, am going to choose to be under Jesus Christ, the law of grace.